Welcome one, welcome all to episode 253 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, November 30th, 2024. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logun. Today we'll be discussing Black Friday deals, purchases in the Xbox app being on hold, and what we should be playing this holiday. As always, we hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I am full of eggnog. Well,
weird.
I've had a lot of eggnog over the last day.
Eggnog is not a Thanksgiving drink.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You didn't ask me like what I had for Thanksgiving. You just asked how I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. So that means like you're just walking around with a carton of eggnog, like this is how I build protein. Whoa. Hold the phone. Audio listeners, you need to know that out of nowhere, a carton of eggnog appeared. That is concerning. Oh my. Oh my.
It's eggnog.
Jen, get on this. This is unhinged behavior.
Yeah, I'm a little low. I need help.
Oh my. Oh boy.
I'm just saying, like I consume eggnog as much as I can during this time because it is literally the only time you can really have like eggnog, because I'm not going to make my own. I know I can make my own, but I'm not going to make my own. I'd much rather just spend some money and get it for myself. So yeah, if it comes down to it, I'm just going to buy the eggnog and drink as much of it as I can during the season. And will I gain some extra weight? Maybe. But you know what? That's why, like starving myself most of the day is a boon, because genuinely, like not taking any carbs in affords more eggnog at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh. All right. So our chat is already weighing in on this unhinged behavior. First of all, the nerd chat, you found allies with them, which is crazy. I've found allies with them too lately in a very different way. It's strange. I don't know what day it is, what year it is, or who I am anymore. But your significant other, who is driving back from Tennessee, I hope you drive safe, Jen, supports your obsession. Don't like that. I'll tell you right now, that's not good. That's an enabler. Miss Hauer in here, and then we've got Big B Money saying her love eggnog. I don't know what that means, but I'm concerned. But Rick Davis is on my side. Rick Davis is on my side. Can't with the eggnog. I'm with you. This is concerning.
I'm glad that you found allies in the poor choices that you make. These are all things that you're allowed to do. You can enjoy it. You can not enjoy it. Just don't try and take it away from others, Luke. That's the important thing.
All right. Well, here's he loves eggs, not okay. I got it. Thank you, Big B Money. I got you. Well, man, that's a lot to unpack, but I'm gonna stick with the gaming portion for the next few minutes anyhow.
Okay, that works. Yeah, we can talk games. We can do games.
But hey, man, words of kindness. We just had Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, I should say. I know our Canadian friends have it, I think, a month prior, but nonetheless, it was Thanksgiving. I went and visited family, and they're my words of kindness this week, because my wife and I, we drove up separately because she was continuing up north after, whereas I came back so I could do the show and just have some quiet time. But my uncle hosted us and hadn't seen him in a good while, and so it was really nice. They did a low country boil, which, as someone who's not a chef, I was just fascinated by the entire event. It was really good. The food was amazing. Good time with family. Nice. Very fortunate. Very fortunate.
That's awesome. I'll toss out to my friend Shanae, who out of nowhere knew that I was going to be kind of home alone for Thanksgiving, since I don't have any family nearby that I would go visit, and I'm just solo at this place right now, so. She dropped by with 2 plates of food from Friendsgivings and families that she visited on Thanksgiving, knowing that I would be like without food or like cooking it myself. Spoiler alert, I actually got the Costco Thanksgiving meal for like $40, and that is a lot of food, and it's actually really good.
So it was good. It turned out well, because I remember you telling me.
Yeah, it was really good. I was really impressed. I have a ton of leftovers now. But yeah, she came by and like dropped off some food from friends that had cooked dinner and had like Thanksgiving meals and stuff like that. So that was really sweet. I wasn't expecting like free food to show up on my front door. So it was cool to have a friend come by and just drop that off for me.
That is cool, man. I'm really happy. When you get older, you realize that you can choose your family. You really can. And those are good people to surround yourself with. So that's awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been an interesting week because it's like I didn't get Friday off, and I worked pretty much all the rest of the week except for Thursday. But everyone else is kind of taking off that time, and that's kind of one of the things that I was kind of missing or lamenting, was just that extra free time when it's like it's chilly out. Like, it's been pretty cool in California. I know it's cold everywhere else, but for California, it's finally getting down into the temperature. So it's like prime time for me to, like, just start up Christmas movies, holiday season, kind of get into that like hunkered down with blankets mood. And usually, during this time, there's a lot of people that take time off to either go visit family or to game. I saw a really funny meme. Some dude sitting in a chair like a lazy boy with his laptop and a headset, and he's just playing Fortnite. And the rest of his family is like sitting there looking at him, wondering what he's doing while they're trying to have like a nice Thanksgiving, like hangout and stuff. Everyone else is like on the couches and talking and whatnot, and he's just yelling at people to check corners or something like that, and they're all looking at him like, what are you doing,
deal, guy? That's funny.
Like, you're a grown man, why are you playing games right now?
That's funny. That is funny. All right, fair. That's funny.
So yeah, I was thinking about during this time, like I don't know, I feel like we always get pulled into, like, what do you do when you have like time off? You actually have time from work to
right.
do whatever you want, and most of us usually jump onto that bat log. So I was kind of thinking, like, what was it that most of everyone played, and did you get a chance to jump into anything?
Yeah, man. Since we've talked, like since our last episode, I feel like a lot has happened, but it also feels like not a lot has happened. It's this weird thing. Don't enable RSJ fan by putting his love for Eggnog up there. It's crazy talk.
Okay.
Oh no, Big B Money's on your side too. What is this world? What is this world?
Proper taste buds. I don't know what to explain to you. I apologize that you were not gifted the taste buds to be able to appreciate Eggnog.
This is crazy talk, I say. One like equals one fan of Eggnog. One share is one not. I don't know. I'm trying to be funny. I don't have it. So
what'd you play?
Let's see. So what I play? Well, I will say I played a lot. I got to wrap up Arkham Shadow. Amazing. Since we last talked. I finished up.
Can I pause you right there? Because I want to call out the fact that there is a big deal that is like going on with the Meta Quest. Like, around, dude, like the 3S everywhere is like $300 with like a $75 gift card, and Batman Arkham with like a 3-month subscription to MetaQuest Plus or Quest Plus or whatever it's called.
Yep.
And then the 3 is $500 with the same deal. And I'm like, that's pretty good. Although I think the gift card maybe should have been a little bit higher for the $500 one, but I think that the MetaQuest, like, if you wanted to check out the MetaQuest, given that they just did the refresh and stuff, that's a pretty good deal. So, but anyway, you finished up Arkham Batman.
Yeah. So I finished up Arkham Shadow. Finished up Arkham Shadow. I will tell you, well, first, that deal for the Quest 3, amazing. Yeah. Absolutely, you should do it. MetaQuest Plus includes Asgard's Wrath 2, which is up for Game of the Year. A lot of people were like, like when you get into the nitty gritty of the Game Awards, there's a lot of like, wait a minute, that's the problem with this one and that one. That game came out like December 2023, so that's why people were wondering. It was just in that nebulous time, but that's a 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too.
Yeah, that's a 10 out of 10 game though. So that's in Quest Plus. Arkham Shadow comes with every unit right now. There's a bunch of other good stuff in Quest Plus that are like, I'm doing my review for the Quest 3 right now because we're doing like is this an Xbox segment of hardware reviews on XEP. So stay tuned to our Patreon and our YouTube. But the idea is, like, when I look at the Quest 3, it's this great device so far, and it's got a really good catalog in Quest Plus of like you're new to VR, you want to show people what VR is when they come over, and you're a veteran, you can play long-term games. So you got your like Asgard's Wrath, Arkham Shadow, and a few others in there that are for
Saber
like
in there? Do you know?
Beat Saber is not in Quest Plus, but they've got some comparable equivalents, which is pretty darn great, which is cool. Big B Money in chat says that Power Ranger game looks great and it's coming to Game Pass. We are going to have an interview with Stephen Frost from Digital Eclipse. I can announce that to talk about Rita's Rewind, and I will be reviewing that as well. I'm doing a video on that one, so excited for that one. That's one of my most anticipated for the year. So you know me, man. I got my they're just out of reach. My Dragon Zords and Megazords are right over there. I love Power Rangers.
And you get on me about having an open carton of eggnog.
Hey man, don't judge. So yeah, the Quest 3 deal, very much worth it. Very much worth it, which is cool. But yeah, to go back to what I was playing, I finished up Arkham Shadow. I wrapped up all of Shattered Space, and uninstalled Starfield for the room for a bit. Our SJ fan says he's been playing Starfield as well.
For the room. Nice. For the room of like on the hard drive on this multiple terabytes that I have available. I was like, well, I'm done Starfield. You're gonna sit back for a bit because Shattered Space. Put your nose in the corner. I don't want to see you again until you come out with some real DLC.
Yeah, it was a pretty disappointing DLC. But I do have a question that I want to address with it because I had a joking bit with Project X Talks Kevin Ainsworth. And in that, I was like, and I think I said this last episode, I was like, I was offended by his take on Shattered Space because he judged it strictly on the main mission. And it's like, this is a 5-hour DLC. And I'm like, that's not right. It's many hours because you have side quests and stuff. And then like, what do you judge the DLC on? He gave a great answer on Project X Talk, which I'll point everybody to go listen to. But I will say that Shattered Space was disappointing start to finish. Everything about it really just seemed to disappoint. And I was bummed about that because it's this curated content. You're on a special world, but it's just Starfield by itself, which I love. It continues to show age and problems in modern RPGs. There's too many loading screens. The menus are atrocious.
This is a Bethesda problem.
Bethesda needs to get on it for sure. But I did finish that DLC.
You need to do, please, if there was any way I could persuade you, like Dead by Daylight was a fantastic dive for you. I'll have my recommendation. I would love to get your opinion on Phantom Liberty for Cyberpunk because
I downloaded it when I cleared Starfield. That's what I cleared it for, was Cyberpunk.
Okay. That I think will give you a stark comparison between the quality and curation between DLCs that I think is why CD Projekt Red is always remembered for the DLCs for The Witcher 3. Just based on Phantom Liberty. Like I've never gotten to go do like Blood and Wine and stuff. Like I know that they're known for their DLCs. Cyberpunk's DLC Phantom Liberty makes me wish that they had actually come out with a second DLC for that game. So if you want a good DLC experience and you haven't jumped into Vessel of Hatred yet for Diablo 4, Cyberpunk is going to give you that like standard RPG through third person action kind of like, or first person action kind of gameplay that you would do in Starfield. But it's exceptional. It's amazingly exceptional. It's a really, really well told story. And and it's just, it does everything right.
Well, so, I'm absolutely going to play it. Like I downloaded that one in like after clearing Starfield. What's up, Jalen Gill, one of my favorite people of all time.
Hey,
and Bacon in here as well. Bacon, you're going to be happy with me today. I got a lot to say about PC gaming. And
I love it. Rick Davis says play Stalker 2 on PC, folks. It's amazing. That was literally the subheading for my handle last week.
Was it? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Stalker 2 on PC is amazing was my thing. I before you get too far away from it, I want to call out Arkham Shadow.
Oh, okay.
What was it like playing that? Like, how did it feel? You're a huge Batman fan. Did you feel like it encompassed the Batman, like, kind of fantasy? Yeah, fantasy.
So, absolutely. Yeah, this is not only a great VR game. This is a great Arkham game. And long has it been evident that I love the Arkham series. It's my favorite series of all time. Arkham Knight is my favorite game of all time. And again, I always say that doesn't mean it's the best. It just means it's my favorite, right?
Yeah.
I am sitting in a Batman Secret Labs chair. I have the cool like quest or Discord icon from the Discord quest for Arkham Shadow. Like I love Batman. I love DC, right? And Arkham Shadow was a fantastic Arkham game. It introduced me to a new world of gaming in VR, which is important. And that's kind of where I'm going to go with a couple segments today, is that like expanding. If this is an Xbox, then there's a lot of places that we can expand our mindsets to. But the Arkham experience was really, really good. It did a great job at transferring the free flow combat that is trademarked. Like Spider-Man copied it, Shadow of Mordor copied it, that free flow, see the reaction, disarm, that kind of stuff. It was fantastically transferred into VR. It was really exciting. I had to teach myself how to not over punch and overextend like my muscles because I was getting so into being Batman, which was fun. The traversal, the Predator challenges, all of that stuff is in there and it's good. And all that much more exciting to me was the thing that held me off VR for so long was being wired, right? Like I don't want to be tethered to anything. And the Quest 3 and probably I think the 2 are untethered. Like you're wireless and this game's all standalone. So it was a really neat experience for me. It was so impressive in the 3S that I upgraded to the 3. And that game is just wonderful. Also exciting to me is that the studio isn't like one and doneing their work. They're bringing out new challenges, new fixes, bug fixes. They're bringing out new maps. They're doing more lore expanding cutscenes. So in a very AAA sense, they're supporting the game, which is nice to see, right? Like I want more gaming mediums to expand and do well. And in VR, the games are like $10 cheaper on average. Like Batman is $50, right? So in some ways $20 cheaper, but it's this AAA experience in this world. And so I was really, really pleased with it. It makes me wonder 2 things, Logan. 3 things. Let me back that up. Okay. 1, after Suicide Squad and Arkham Shadow releasing this year, does WB learn their lesson of what fans want? Do they want a live service game that's shoehorned in, or do they like a looter shooter into a universe that's not ripe for it? Or do people want a curated single player experience? Will they transfer this game into 2D for flat screens at some point? I'm curious about that. I don't think it would hurt it in any way. I think they need to do more to it because there's a lot of stuff that's VR specific for a good reason. And then the last thing is, does a game like this push VR in a bigger direction? Like, does the Quest sell more? Because all VR companies, Valve, Meta, and PlayStation
Sony,
are all losing money. They're all losing money on VR. And so, like, does this push more VR units into people's hands? And I really hope so. Because there's a lot of great games out there across a lot of different ways to play. And experiencing VR reminds me of experiencing the Wii for the first time. Remember the first time you moved, you're like, oh my gosh. So,
yeah, it was terrible. I threw it down. I was like, this is the stupidest console. I'm going back to my GameCube.
And he didn't. The Wii was a special thing. Like it got people's attention. I feel like VR is starting to do that.
I don't disagree that the Wii was a phenomenon. I just think that the move controls was dumb. Especially for the time.
After you broke the code in your mind. But like the first time when you were really swinging like those paddles, when you were playing tennis or bowling, like our brains didn't realize that you could just wrist flick. You like
so when you, and not to cut you off, but when you felt that, that to me is the same as being tethered in VR. The first time I felt that kind of feeling was when I got in front of a Kinect. And it was completely wireless. There were no things I had to touch. It was the camera was picking up everything that I was doing. That was when I had that sense of like, wow, this is impressive.
Well, I will tell you the untethered nature of being in a Quest headset and like pulling a gun off your back. There's a game called Guardians Frontlines. It's just Halo. Like it's just Halo. pulling that off my back and like going around feeling like Chief, looking like Chief, or doing a gadget here, like it's pretty impressive. And so it does make me want to see Xbox get some of their experiences into VR. And I don't need it to be exclusive to anything, but like put it out on Steam, PlayStation VR, and Quest. Like those are the trifecta right now. There's another one called Pico that's not in the United States, but like they should absolutely be expanding these experiences. I think Fireteam Raven is a light gun game in the arcade that's perfect for VR. Put that out there. Get the Halo name in another place. Like these are ways to spread your brand awareness at, I think, a low entry cost, I would think.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've been curious to hear your thoughts on Batman and how you feel about it, because genuinely, like, for me, I can do VR, but I can only do VR for so long and only certain experiences. I can't do smooth motion as I've talked about in the past. So for me, that cuts off a lot of content where it's supposed to feel more natural as you're kind of going around. So I lament the ability to do that for a lot of the VR games that I want to try out, just because I think that the experience is unique. But there's just too many reasons why I have trouble with it at the moment. So for the most part, I've been kind of living vicariously through you, even though I have a PSVR 2 right now. I've been like really tempted to ditch that and sell that, as well as my Logitech G Cloud, because I feel like I've gotten my experiences with those, and move over to something like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, because I think that those two native experiences are vastly superior as far as like what you're looking to get compared to most other handhelds. So those are like, that's kind of what in the back of my mind, I'm like, I kind of want to sell these off and put the money towards like a new system. But I know that they're going to be announcing a ROG Ally 2 kind of thing soon. So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, well, if I want to get like a more of a natural handheld, then I'm going to want to do that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm rarely ever far away from my PC or my consoles. So it's hard for me to even really just justify that. But we were talking about stuff that you were playing over the holidays. So you did Shattered Space, got that out of the way. You finished Arkham Shadow. Was there anything else that you jumped into?
Yeah, I'm there's two games that I want to talk about at some point, and that is TMNT Splintered Fate. Yeah. You know, I'm a TMNT fan, and a lot of people are talking about Hades and the different discords we're a part of.
Can you give like a small briefing on what that, because we've had a lot of TMNT games come out, and I think a lot of people might not be quite too clear on which one this one is or what the gameplay style is.
Absolutely. So Splintered Fate if it could be one of my games of the year, it would be. Oddly enough, this game launched into Apple Arcade last year, which is wild, terrible. Right? Like, because that's the first knock against it for anybody that hasn't played it, right? You're like, oh, Apple Arcade. But it was one of those gem exclusives that Apple just scooped up, probably helped fund. And then the game came out and got critical acclaim everywhere, but low attention because it's Apple Arcade. They brought it to Switch, did really well on Switch. This is, and they recently brought it to PC with the intention, at least I've talked to them, it's coming to consoles very soon, right? Yeah. Unsure if that's.
No, I saw the announcement for that. I was like, oh, cool. Gotcha. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Absolutely love this game. It is a Hades. Basically, it's a Hades TMNT, which to me makes it too easy again for people to write off, because they're here in Apple Arcade and they're hearing, oh, it's just Hades, but TMNT.
I mean, Hades is an amazing roguelike. So
that's kind of what I wanted to put in people's minds. Like, this game is just like Hades, and it's got a TMNT skin on it that is beautiful. So, very well animated, very well voice acted. You'll hear Jennifer Hale will be in there, all the turtles.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's fantastic. Like, you just go through. She is Karai, and I want to say a few others. Like, you can hear it. It's kind of like when you play a game, you're like, that's Troy Baker, that's Troy Baker, that's Troy Baker, doing 3 different voices. Got it. That's Arkham Shadow. Like, he's Dent, Joker, and somebody else.
Troy Baker.
And it's just, he's Troy Baker and everything. But Bacon says he says, play it, everyone. I have over 20 hours in TMNT Splintered Fate. I think I'm over the 10-hour mark, I want to say. I'm playing it on Steam right now because it was the only place I could access it in my time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like if I'm guesting on someone's podcast, that's what I'm playing while I'm talking. When I'm not having to be the host, I'm just listening. I often play games, and I love this game. I'm so excited for it to come to consoles. But to your point about a Steam Deck, ROG Ally, this is the game that told me, it was like, you know what? I miss my Vita so much. This would have been my Vita game. I played so much on my Vita back in the day. That was probably my second favorite console of all time, behind the Xbox 360, and I just love that aspect of gaming, and the Switch just never did it for me. And so more and more, as I watch Xbox's, this is an Xbox direction, the more I enjoy playing with my backbone on my phone. I'm like, I do want a portable device, because after the lesson of Quest, where I was like, oh, I'm loving playing in a new way, or in a new platform, in a new medium, finding access to new stuff. That's kind of what Steam is to me, because it's new to me, right?
Yeah.
And I go on, I do Game Pass for PC and stuff, which, quick aside, pisses me off to no end that the Warcraft games are only on Battlenet. They're not on Steam. They're not on Game Pass for PC. That's ridiculous. What did we pay $70 billion for? I say. Arr.
I mean, it's a matter of back end and accounts and just getting
these are
all that
old
stuff
ROMs.
transferred.
Just put them up there.
Yeah,
fix it.
I know. I'm not. I mean, the difference being is that the old ROMs are available. If you want to go to like GOG, you can do that. If you want the remastered stuff, that stuff is something that the dev teams worked on, and they integrate a lot with Battlenet, which, let's talk about it, was like the first kind of online place where a lot of gamers went to outside of like Neverwinter Nights and EverQuest to talk to other gamers. If you didn't have BBS board or BTS boards or whatever they were, and you just wanted to talk to people, Battlenet was kind of the place to go do that. That was where everyone was in those lobbies. So there's something.
Battlenet is dead though. Like, that's not the place.
You are so out of touch right now. You just need to be quiet about
Battlenet
that.
is dead to me, I say. There's no way that I, the host of an Xbox podcast, could be Luke. Wrong about Battlenet.
It's okay. It's cute. I'm glad that you're flustered. It's adorable, but Battlenet is not dead. There's very much Battlenet life. And honestly, I'm going to, I think you could probably go back into one of our past episodes. I wanted, when we were talking about the deal, I was like, they just need to take the people that are making Battlenet and have them work on the Xbox app, because the Xbox app was trash. And now it's good. It's actually really good right now. But the Battlenet app was just so much more well thought out and superior in every possible way. Like, it has features in there that are just really, really nice. It has community features in there. So if you like Discord and stuff, and you're only like a Battlenet person, you could make your own Discord in Battlenet, like, kind of system. There's so much better. I'm not going to wax poetic about Battlenet forever, but I will say that the connection between Activision Blizzard and Battlenet to the Xbox app needs to be better, because I don't disagree that it is kind of weird that they kick you out to Battlenet for something like StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 remastered, which those are older titles, but it's all because Battlenet is where all that stuff is connected, and that's how all of their online games are. So how they're able to do it with Diablo 4 doesn't make sense. How they're able to do it with Diablo 3 doesn't make sense to me. But that's one of those things where it's like, they should have been working on this for a while, or hopefully they are working on it.
Well, to loop back.
Yeah.
Really love Splintered Fate, and I want people to check that out, because it's, I mean, I love TMNT, right? Like, there's been a lot of TMNT resurgence of late. I really do love it. It's on sale right now on Steam. Yeah. Oh gosh, Ronan's so good. But I love TMNT, and this is just a great video game. And I love when great video games capture IP that I love, right? Like, we talk about this a lot. I'm very IP based, and this is both a great game and a great use of the IP. So I like that it's both, and I can recommend it on whatever platform. If you've got a Switch, play it there. If you have Apple Arcade, play it there. If you've got Steam, play it there. It's coming to Xbox and PlayStation soon. So I'm looking forward to that. And that is a game that I really would want on a Steam Deck. So like it's definitely something I'm looking into, right?
Yeah.
And it's this game that kind of is like, you know what? This is the kind of experience that you loved with Vita. Go to this one. At some point, and we don't. I feel like you should talk about what you've been playing too. But I did start Star Wars Outlaws, and I will talk about that after you tell me something that you've been playing.
I've been very tempted to pick that up because I have been seeing like the $40 deals for that, and it's been very, very tempting. I am still kind of waiting for that to show up in. I don't think it's actually. Wait, maybe it has shown up in Steam, and I just missed it. But that was. Oh yeah. Okay, so
Which
Star
one?
Wars Outlaws.
Star Wars, yeah, it's on sale.
It's on Steam right now. That was kind of my thing. Is I was waiting for it to be in Steam because I'm gonna have a better experience on PC with that. I think really take advantage of my graphics card at this point. But that was kind of what I was waiting on. As far as what I've been playing, though, I've been playing predominantly Call of Duty. I this week took the time to stop playing multiplayer and zombies for a little bit. Thankfully, my significant other, Jen, was actually out of town. So a little bit easier when she's on the road and can't actually play for me to actually sit down and get through the campaign. But I got through the campaign and I've been typing up my review this week, and I'm going to be working on the review to try and get the video out this week, or get the video out ready for this weekend and have it released next week. But I will say, man, I was so impressed with this campaign that it makes me want to go play Control.
Oh, wow. What a strange carryover.
And I think that's at the heart of what this campaign is. It is a strange kind of crossover. Like, this campaign does not feel like a Call of Duty. It feels like a AA game, or like a AAA level, but a AA length game as far as the quality of the campaign. And I'm going to go more into my thoughts in there, but they stray so far away from what I expect to be the norm when it comes to a Call of Duty campaign. Most of the time, I expect you to run and gun, infiltrate different places and kill people, and have like one or two sniper missions, and a one weird one where you have to be as a kid. Because for whatever reason, modern like Call of Duty has to have one level where you play as a kid.
Yeah, they pull this trick sometimes, and it's like, why?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, just no, stop it. I don't want to be a kid during a wartime thing. Like, that's not where we should be. Like, I mean, good to know, like, everyone's impacted by that, but yeah, video game.
Addie Goto in agreement, saying it's a combination of stealth, horror, and action. Very good campaign.
Yeah, and that is a great take. A lot of it gives me Control mixed with, I would say, Hitman vibes. And there's even little bits in there that I was thinking, like, this feels like a Resident Evil mashup with Doom. And I was not expecting that at all. And
that's cool.
When I got done with the campaign, I was like, yeah, this is probably my game of the year, to be perfectly honest. Like, everything has really hit well.
Is it so? Let me ask you this, because I know we're going to have our game of the year episode as a community episode at the end of December, right? Yeah. When you say it's your game of the year, are you saying that like you think it should win that award, or for you, that's what you have played and enjoyed the most this year?
I'll say that it is for me very much my personal game of the year.
Gotcha.
And I think a lot of that is just because there are so many games out there, and there's so many that this year gave us that I still haven't even dropped into. Like, I just downloaded Hellblade 2 on one of my consoles so that I could, like, if I get some time, sit down and actually play through that.
Promise me you'll play it with headphones.
Okay. I need new headphones, so I mean, that's just, I'll have to get like one of my other pairs for that, but yeah. I can play with headphones.
Thanks, Papa. Appreciate you.
No problem.
It's the audio design is immaculate in that game. Like, to say nothing else, like, I know I'm very high on Hellblade 2, but there is no denying the quality of audio that Hellblade 2 brings. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't not believe that that's definitely the case given the first one. So, but yeah, I have been looking at this game and thinking more and more about how this game is 100% of what you want out of like a Call of Duty experience. Like we've talked about the past, where Modern Warfare 3 hasn't been given enough credit because the campaign was so harshly judged for its design. But you're not taking into account, like, you're also getting zombies, you're also getting multiplayer into that package as well too. Call of Duty campaign easily is worth a fair amount of money that is paid towards that game price, because the multiplayer and the zombies are really good as well, and season 1 has done some really good things as well. But at the end of the day, like, if they'd gone and made this campaign and thrown it up on the store for $40, more and more people would be talking about it. And I think because Call of Duty is just Call of Duty, that it has done well. It's done exceptionally well because of the campaign, but I can't think of anything to really say outside of just the fact that people really should give this a shot, because it's not your typical Call of Duty.
Right. I think it's on my to play list, and the idea that you said it's like a shorter length, to me, I find that very endearing. Right. Like I like that. I would not want a 20-hour Call of Duty experience. I don't want to watch Fast and the Furious for 12 hours, 24 hours, that kind of thing. Like I want a good,
it's bad, so
6 to 8. But you get the point that I'm saying, right? Like
no, I know
the premise of it.
Just teasing. I mean, I watched 12 hours of Lord of the Rings, but you tell me to watch 12 hours of Fast and the Furious, we're gonna have words.
Exactly. Right. I mean, that's the big thing. Like that octane cannot be kept
maintained
back to back by there are very few franchises that can do that in film or gaming. I think Call of Duty is the closest when it comes to that. And in film, like maybe John Wick, you could do that.
So that is what I love about this campaign, is it is not trying to give you an octane fueled run from start to finish the way you would expect like a Doom to kind of do in the slightest. Very much about this game caters to folks who love Splinter Cell, who love Hitman, who love Resident Evil, who love Fatal Frame, Doom. There are points in this campaign where I can point out and be like, horror fans are going to absolutely eat this part up, and they are going to absolutely love it. And then there's people who are going to be like, this is a Hitman game. This is, it's like they give you a lot of options, and you get to choose how you want to get to the end. And it's very well done. So there's a lot in this campaign that I'm just sitting here looking at it, and I'm like, they know how to bring people in, because if you want Call of Duty, you got Call of Duty, you got Warzone, you got multiplayer, you got zombies and stuff like that. Like, you have Call of Duty. But if you want like a unique gaming experience that is what I would say the most popular franchise in the world, then that is what they're doing. They're giving you something that is not Call of Duty within Call of Duty. And I think that they nailed it.
Xbox.com is being very slow. I wanted to pull up just how like if it's on sale or whatnot, given that it just came out.
It sure is.
Yeah, it's 15% off right now, which is, to me, a great price, just given that Call of Duty provides so much value. I'm more Modern Warfare than I am Black Ops, but like there's no denying the impact Black Ops has had. It's been the best selling game across all platforms that it's available on. It has been just gangbuster numbers selling on PlayStation. The Game Pass buy-in has gone up by like roughly 20%. That's Jam Pack Sam math, by the way. If anyone listens to the most recent Project X talk, you'll know what I mean. But 15 to 20% uptick in Game Pass subscriptions is not to be denied. This game is a juggernaut, and they're selling it on sale, and they're just now well enough into their season that they're starting to put some of the silly skins into the store, which is what I like. I'm ready for the IP based ones personally. We did Warzone last night, and
I saw. How'd that go?
We had a blast. We had won a couple rounds of Fortnite prior, and then we jumped over. But Logan, I will tell you, I am now on your side about I've changed positions on a couple things lately, but I'm now on your side because when we played Warzone, the omnidirectional movement felt great. And to me, it felt better than it does in multiplayer. It felt more like Modern Warfare, but there was omni movement in there. The reason that I'm bringing this up is we were playing with the skins that we already owned, and they're working in omnidirectional movement with no hiccups. So now it's like, all right, this is you've migrated engines, but your skin is still there. Like, all right, now I'm on Logan's side. Like, it was one thing, like it's a different game, different engine, that kind of thing. And I thought that Warzone was going to be like a kind of a different
relic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, you're just going into the old mode. No, if you're doing omni movement, there's no excuse. And that's the difference for me, right? Like, that is the difference. So I was a little disappointed to see that. Like, I would pay a $5 fee or like a modest fee to get the skin that I want from Modern Warfare into Black. I don't mind paying a small fee for that, because technically they are different games. And I love my IP. Like, I'm so stoked for Fortnite right now because Godzilla and King Kong are coming. Well, that's my favorite skin in COD is my Godzilla skin, right? Like, I'd pay $5 to get that to transfer, and I just feel like that's money on the table for them.
The thing that frustrates me about this is I was talking to Joseph Moran, PlayStation Trophy Room, your son.
That's my son.
Who's spending quite a bit of money on a Steam Deck OLED this holiday to, I don't know, kind of rub it in his PlayStation Portal's face, I guess. I don't know why he's doing it. Like, it's almost like he's
I'm a believer now in the Steam Deck, Logan.
No, I know. I've never disparaged at it all. It's just a high price tag for the handheld market right now, when I can go buy a Switch Lite for $150 from Staples.
The LCDs are down to $350 though.
Yeah,
for the Steam Deck. I mean, and I will say, you got to side load your Xbox stuff. That bothers me. If our whole thing is an Xbox, that's not cool.
Yes, which is why I'm holding off for the time being, because that's kind of where I'm like, I need to see like what's going to happen. So I am just waiting to see like how Xbox approaches this, which is one of the stories that we'll get into. But the idea of for them, because talking to Joe, he said that he has to play on the PlayStation 4 version of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And I said, that's ridiculous. Why are you playing? Are you playing on a PS4? And he's like, no, I'm playing on PS5. And I'm like, well, why are you playing the PS4 version? And he said, it's the only way you can get the trophies, because at the moment, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is still part of the Call of Duty hub, which means it's considered DLC. And because of that, there's no trophies for DLC. So he has to play the PS4 version of the game to get the trophies for it, which is not something that the Xbox version has to worry about because we have a better system. But
quick aside, smart delivery, crossplay, cross progression, play anywhere. Xbox does have a better system.
It really does.
The more I investigate other realms of this as an Xbox, it really does. And all those buzzword bullshits they had for us. Sorry, I shouldn't have cussed.
How dare you?
All those buzzword messes they had, that is, they make good sense, but like, it's also, no one knows what it is. Those are good programs and systems. And quick resume. Thank you, Big B Money. Agree. Yeah, it's crazy. And that is wild. I apologize for interrupting you. Please continue.
No, you're good. So here to get to the point of the comment, he cannot play the PS5 version until he gets all the trophies, because it's considered DLC, because it's considered the hub, because it's the Call of Duty hub, and they're all the same game, just different DLCs according to PlayStation. So if PlayStation, the leader in consoles, considers Call of Duty a DLC, why are all my skins in blops? That's my point. If it works in Warzone, it should work everywhere else. You have your library, you spent the money on it. It should be considered legacy and transferred forward. It should be, if it's compatible in Warzone, there's no reason why it shouldn't be compatible with the new engine as well. It's all just tessellation and shaders and binding and stuff, and most of that work is already done. So if you can bring your Call of Duty Black Ops 6 stuff into legacy games like Warzone, and then upgrade Warzone to include Omni movement, there's no reason why I don't think you should be able to have access to all of your skins in Black Ops.
It's one of those things where, Ellery Woods Parker III, I have missed you so much. So good to see the name there. Oh, so good to see the name. I've been listening to Spreading the Nerd, obviously. And their name comes up so often, and I just miss them. But it makes me wish, Logan, there are a lot of goods about being a small podcast. There's a lot of cons about being a small podcast. There's a lot of goods about getting bigger and more popular, and cons that come with that as well, right? Like that's part of it. But when I think about like stuff like this, I wish we had a much bigger audience, because you could activate a social movement of like, hey, this is wrong and it's not consumer friendly, and you could fix that. And I wonder if that is something that larger creators have done, because, like it's a closed ecosystem sometimes. But I wonder if that's a red flag people have raised, because again, I was not on your side on this one. I was very much like, they're two different games, man. Like I'm not upset about this. But then after seeing it in Warzone, I'm like, this is not a difficult thing. And I'd be okay with a modest fee to bring over one or two of my skins. Like, I do think that's an element there. And so, and I won't hear anybody say like, well, licensing. No, fix it. Fix it.
It's one of those things, like, you take this into account when you're actually working on it. Phil Spencer has talked about how difficult it is to work with IPs. You have to start building these contracts to be a lot more cognizant of the long term. And people are expecting this always online systems to have content available across multiple generations. It's at this point, it's like, look, if you're worried that you lost the digital library, make up for it. Make up for it by doing unprecedented things like Play Anywhere. Make up for it by doing really good cloud saves, where you don't have to like go and specifically pick the cloud save and have it installed. Just have it automatically sync as soon as you boot up the game. Like, you're already doing a lot of good work in that field. Extend it.
Bacon said that Xbox and PC is a perfect combination of gaming. I more and more am falling into that category, where I'm seeing that. And again, it always takes like that one thing you want, right? And however it hits you, whether it's a big AAA thing, a small indie thing, that one thing you want. But for me, it was Splintered Fate, where I was like, I can only play this on PC, fine. And once it comes over, or like once I was in the Steam ecosystem, I'm like, okay, is this gonna have cross save, cross progression, cross anything? And Xbox has that for so many things across all its mediums. Your saves are just there, your content's just there. I'm looking at hopefully getting a Steam Deck, and I'm gonna do some hardware coverage on it for sure. But like, I'm gonna have to buy Dead by Daylight on Steam, and it can get cross progression through their accounts, but that's still, I mean, Steam sale $7 right now. That's one of the things I'm like, do I get it? Like, $7 for a game that I'm gonna put hundreds of hours into continuously, right? Like, I'm several hundred hours in now, but like, it should just work. It should just be there. And that's the benefit of going to like a ROG Ally instead, but that's several $100s more. And it's a matter of, it should just work. It should just work on the consumer side, because if it just works, then I can spend money in the ecosystem.
Yeah. You feel like you're not going to be locking your money into an ecosystem that is not going to progress over. That's why I think we saw some folks say like, X Bacon, I bought way too many games in the Steam sale. Why did he do it? Because Steam has been around, and Steam has proven that they can be around, and that they have really good policies in place to try and ensure that, hey, not only are you going to get the best deal, but you're going to have a pretty decent return policy. I was playing, I picked up Balatro, which was the other game that I played this weekend. And I put 43 minutes into it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play this game. I don't know if this is going to work for me. And then I came back to it and put some more time in. And I've got about 3.5 more hours into it right now. And I understand. I was like, okay, I definitely get why people are enjoying it. It is a pretty good roguelike as far as like how it's set up. I don't know how much more time I'll put into it, because I don't know that I necessarily need to, but I will say that there was a good time where I was sitting there looking at it, like Steam's 2-hour like playtime is usually enough to give me an opportunity to decide, like, am I actually going to continue playing this? Because if I don't, then I'm most definitely going to be returning this. And the fact that they give me 2 hours to do that is fantastic. That's what I think a lot of companies should do. And that's why a lot of people put that money into those ecosystems, is because they are rewarding you for staying within their system by having much better, consumer facing policies.
I saw that, and I feel like Xbox in the console space has great consumer policies as far as returns and stuff. They will return things very regularly. So I've never had an issue. I've returned money games to them, and then that money stays in the ecosystem. I just send it somewhere else. PlayStation was a bit more fickle, and I'm remembering the Cyberpunk kerfuffles and such. But I will say for Steam, like I spent I think $50 in Steam, and like I got all the old Arkham games in case, for that Steam Deck experience when I do get it. Cause like I've done all the trophies on PlayStation. I did all the achievements on Xbox I can get. Like now this is just a new way to do it. But then something that I really wish was available on consoles, the Disney Infinity, like everything.
Oh yeah.
All of them. Cause they had, dude, that was a great Marvel game, a great Tron game, and a great Star Wars game. Like those characters to life were too expensive, but like digitally, it's all there. It's like $15 for all three. Yes, that was a great Marvel game. I'm gonna play that. That was a great Star Wars game. I'm gonna play that. Like, I loved it. And then I got like Sleeping Dogs for $1 and Shadows of the Empire for $1. Like, yeah, all right, cool.
I would say that there are. I'll have to see if I can take a look on Steam, because I don't do a whole lot of Steam. Like I do some Steam, but like Steam is more just like the secondary ecosystem. Like Xbox is most definitely my hands down, my biggest, because I mean, it's just easier. It's a lot nicer. I like it. They have the reward points and stuff like that. So like a lot of the points, well, the system has definitely been kicked in the butt and shot down, and they, I don't know how much longer they're going to have the reward points and stuff, but there's very much like ways that I can purchase stuff, and with Play Anywhere it's a lot easier to go through Xbox. So, but I can see the appeal behind Steam, especially when you are a PC gamer, but you still want to have that experience like on the go. The Steam Deck was like a godsend. It was like, oh, well, this takes care of that. Like I don't have to have a gaming laptop anymore. I can actually enjoy a handheld now.
Yep. I'm going to give a shout out to Omatoni, who I hope I said your name right, but if I said it wrong, please correct me. Left us a very nice comment in our most recent episode, which I really appreciated. And also listened to Xbox 2+1, which I got to be a guest on with Jez and Randolph Thor 19, which was cool. But he says, Balatro is an open world survival where the longer you play, you start to lose track of time and reality in your life. That's the best, man. When you can just lose yourself into a game. That's my favorite thing, is to just get lost into that world, go down the rabbit hole. I really enjoy that when I find a game or franchise that does that. So like I'm thrilled that people are loving it so much. I think it was Bacon that said Balatro has a hook, not game of the year, but it's a great game, but zero story. Well, just to throw this out there, Elden Ring can't be game of the year because that game came out last year. That's the thing that came out this year is not a game. You need a game to play the thing for this year.
Yeah.
So good.
I know it's ridiculous. I will watch the Game Awards for whatever announcements that they have, but it's really hard for me to respect the actual rewards or the actual awards that they're presenting, because I don't feel I feel like it's a conglomeration of all the different reporters who have been out there, but it is very much a zeitgeist movement. It's whatever the reporters were reviewing this year that have a say on what games are nominated and what their picks are. But there's no way for them to play all the games, and they're going to be playing the games that they think are going to get the most traffic on their websites. So the system is biased. DICE is truly the biggest game award that you can look at, because not only does it take place after the year has closed out, because who's gonna nominate Indiana Jones for game of the year?
Yeah,
no one.
Those review codes are out in the wild right now. We did not land one, at least not at this time, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but like I'm not upset. Is it bad? Oh, sorry.
I would put Call of Duty down to jump into Indiana Jones in a heartbeat.
Would you really? Okay, so that
Yeah.
code comes in. I'm sending it your way.
That's fine. I will jump in. I as the indie fan would love to. I can't wait to jump into that game because I have so much like I don't know how I feel about the combat, but also it's an adventure game, so I'm just like ready to like go and experience it. I love Indiana Jones, dude. That is one of the franchises that I will rewatch on a regular basis. Used to read the young Indiana Jones books.
I did
when
that
those
too.
came out. Like those were fantastic. Like man, those and like Choose Your Own Adventure and Goosebumps were my bread and butter growing up.
All right, there you go.
But
I did that plus Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. But I mean, those were that is one of the discussions that it's like, who's out there like nominating Indiana Jones for great whatever, you know? No one's gotten a chance to really kind of review it. But
it might be on like next year's candidacy list.
Is it?
I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it is.
GTA 6 is coming out next year, apparently. So I'm pretty sure that Indiana Jones is going to be forgotten.
But I don't think that is the fault of the Game Awards.
I do.
Like the Game Awards has a lot of faults. I really like am jaded on the experience a great deal. But like,
if it falls off though, if it came out in December and it doesn't get considered till 2025's Game Awards, then is that Indiana Jones's fault or is that the Game Awards fault?
It's not the Game Awards fault at all. It's the journalists, the panels involved. Like they're saying, here's the candidacy window. These are the games available. And that's the fault of those that are voting in that place. And I also think like companies, whether it's Bethesda, whether it's PlayStation or else, they're aware of these timelines and they are choosing one way or another, whether it's based on getting into the award season zeitgeist or just when they need to release for sales purposes or anything else. They're choosing when to release their game. And I hope, and I do believe this, but belief could be a folly here. But I do believe that post Redfall, post Starfield, Xbox proper is saying, hey, we need to have better launches. We need to have better launches. Because I mean, they got kicked in the nuts with Halo Infinite's live service launch, even though the game played great at launch. There were a lot of live service failings. Starfield was fairly okay, but like it didn't do what they wanted it to do. Shattered Space disappointed. Redfall disappointed. For all the fun that I had in those games, like they did not do what Xbox wanted. So they need clean launches. Hellblade was bug free, at least in my experience. It was bug free, and I played it. Not marketed, but I played through it twice back to back. The servers were fixed pretty quickly on Flight Sim 24, despite the frustration there. What else? Black Ops, immaculate, right? Like that game came out in a very good state across multiple platforms, a testament to what takes to be in development longer. And for all preview purposes, both South by Midnight, people have gone hands-on, have quietly told me it's looking great, doing well. And then Avowed, people that are publicly able to say it, are also quite pleased with their work. So like, I see the fruits of Xbox's labor in that respect.
Well, we're getting the top tier game companies right now, like Compulsion, Obsidian. Those are like Treyarch, Raven. Those are some of the best studios outside of PlayStation right now. And we're going to be getting their content soon. And I can't wait because I think that those studios are truly like what makes games special in the AAA space. So I'm looking forward to those kind of broader kind of experiences where people will stand up and take notice. Like I can tell my buddy who barely plays video games, like go play Ghost of Tsushima, like go play that game because it is a large enough title that you'll know what it is and that you'll see it and know like, okay, this is a good game. But that is one of those things where like, I can't tell him to go find Balatro or Hades because those titles aren't big enough to really justify his time, because his time is going to be small but focused on some of the AAA experiences, because that's all he really cares about is the you know, what little time he spends in games. He wants the best of the best. So having something like South by Midnight or Avowed are going to be ones where it's like, no, those are titles that are worth looking at and paying close attention to.
It goes back to the idea that like every game that comes out is on some level competing with your Fortnites, your Call of Duties, your Maddens, because it's going to take away from the main time sink, whatever your main game is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a harder space to exist in. And like, to loop back to our previous conversation about like PC, Game Pass, cross-play, cross-progression, play anywhere, all that. I think that's why so many of those games need to be available in so many places. You can just play it, because it just having access to it is the hump that so many companies need to get past in order to get their game in front of people. Just find a way to get it to people. And I think this is an Xbox campaign, and this is a bigger thing. And I know it's a quiet day, like we're post Thanksgiving, that you don't have as many people in the chat that we normally do. But I will say that like, this is an Xbox's campaign, is why I'm like, no, I can get a Steam Deck. Like, I don't know if that's what they wanted, right? But like, I'm more open to other stuff now. Like, I'm less inclined to buy an Xbox than I ever have before, despite all the games that are coming out. And I'm more inclined to say this avenue for PC, for cloud, for anything else is I'm open to it, right? Like, I will still main my Series X because I happen to be that kind of gamer. But now I'm like, all right, I could be on a PC. And it's Xbox's doing that I am like that. But I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think it's a good thing, because we've seen, like, for Xbox, they still plan on putting out an Xbox. And if it's one thing that we talked about in this episode, Xbox has some of the best buzzwords behind systems that they've put into their Xbox: quick resume, play anywhere, backwards compatibility, auto HDR, auto FPS boost, stuff like that is going to help bridge the gap between what you have, which is your console, and the PC marketplace kind of thing. Like, they're working to try and give you that kind of holistic approach to your content is available anywhere. So them having the console, like, I think is still very important. I think a lot of people are going to have the console for sure. But having, if Xbox has said that there is a handheld in the works, but it's still a few years out, according to Phil Spencer, then that kind of, to me, just says like they are planning on making their own. And I think that's where I'm really invested in seeing like what their experience is going to be. But at the same time, I'm going to look at like the fact that, I do have games on Steam that I've picked up for really cheap that I'd love to, sit down and focus and playing on if I can like justify the time away from multiplayer games where I spend most of my time socializing. But I want to have a system that's going to allow me to have access to multiple ecosystems, and the third party market is going to be the best for that. But it's undeniable that whatever Xbox ends up putting out will most certainly be one of the best connected console handheld experiences with any of the standard handhelds, because right now Switch is doing the best of that, right? They have a handheld that is also the home system. And if Xbox can do anything that actually capitalizes on that, which it's amazing to me that the PS Portal was literally just a streaming device when they had the market and the tools and the capabilities to really compete on the Steam Deck and ROG Ally, that market, and they didn't. Really showed that these console companies are still behind the 8-ball when it comes to how to address the market, and Steam Deck and Switch are the leaders right now for that. And Xbox really needs to take some strong notes from the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally and be like, what is it that people like about this that needs to be included in our handheld?
Right. I saw a lot of people, like, you're nailing it on the head as far as like what their goal is and what they need to be clear about in their marketing. I saw people on social saying this. I was traveling this weekend, so I have like podcasts on my mind. I heard multiple podcasts point out that there were those who were like trying to dunk on Xbox because they're like, well, now that your games are everywhere, now that you're putting Call of Duty everywhere and subscriptions, it's just a Game Pass machine. And it's like, that's what they've been telling us for months, for years at this point, is it's for Game Pass, and that's the draw. And I chuckled because there are people that like try to incite console wars and stuff, which is so stupid. But
Xbox is the best. That's all that matters.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, classic. But the argument
Nothing
was
to
that
debate.
it's like the argument was what was it? Oh, you don't have good exclusives. People are just shilling for Game Pass. And I'm like, yeah, dog, Game Pass is dope. I love Game Pass. And when they figure out the handheld, the PC integration, everything else to a T, and I can just Game Pass on everything, yes, all my saves, everything is there. I don't need to stress about whether I have access to it or not. Like I shouldn't have to worry about Battlenet and Warcraft. I shouldn't have to worry about, if all the CODs are there, what content is there. Once it's just Game Pass and it's everywhere, like I'm a happy camper. That's what I want right now. And again, my tastes have been changing over the last few years, but I think it's Xbox's fault that my mind is open to these things.
It's true. They're changing the there's an actual like paradigm shift right now in how games are perceived, because so much of what we are doing is streaming. And I think the native experience is still going to be very crucial to gaming, just because latency and input lag and all of that stuff gets factored in. Like I've been scoping out monitors on all of the Black Friday sales just to try and see if I can get something, because one of this monitor that I'm looking at right now is actually my work monitor, and it has got a slow millisecond response time. So there's a tearing on this screen most of the time that I'm playing games if the refresh rate is higher than the cap. Yeah. And then my other monitor, my poor like secondary monitor, the little buttons are messed up. So every once in a while, the little controls will just start to flicker on screen. And I'm like, that is so annoying. So I've been like scoping out deals, looking for monitors, and kind of forgetting where my train of thought was going with this. But effectively, like from the PC standpoint, like that's a cost investment that I have to jump into to be able to maintain just the status quo. Whereas with having like the handhelds, having the console, it shores up a lot of those questionable like things that are going wrong. Like, do I have enough RAM? It doesn't matter. It's a console. It's a handheld. I don't have to worry about that. So like the idea of the console wars and things going to everywhere, and why is Xbox everyone like lauding Xbox Game Pass, and it's a Game Pass only machine. As soon as they start putting more of my content that I've purchased and played natively on Game Pass, then the happier I'll be to be able to have access to that just anywhere. And whether I'm streaming it to my PC or downloading it natively, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because eventually it's just going to be me getting to enjoy my games without necessarily having to worry about where I'm at.
Exactly right. Yes, it's, I don't know. I feel like we're looping now, but how about we shout out our patrons who have been amazing to us in the last few weeks, and then we'll move in, talk a little bit about Stalker 2's patch, the Xbox app, and I want to talk about Star Wars Outlaws for a moment.
Nice.
Let's give a shout out to our amazing patrons. Patreon just opened up the gifting mode, which I thought was kind of cool. Like now you can gift Patreon stuff. I know a lot of our YouTube audience tends to stay in YouTube, but 2 weeks ago the last week we had 4 new patrons, which is incredible. That helps me get to LA. That helps me buy stuff for coverage if we need one. That helps us get softwares if we need. So just very appreciative of all of you that have chosen to support us on Patreon or YouTube. Our Patreon shout outs go to our tier 2 and 3 members. And let me hit the loop button here. I want to give a shout out to Ken Rossing, Fabian Winkler, Stephen H., Edward, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, lost my spot, there we go, Rob Frawley II, Tal Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randolph Thor 19, Hafrican, Game Positive, Jampack Sam, Rick Davis, Matt Valdez, Red Beast, Dano 12, DJ Hero, Brendan Myers, aka the Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you all for supporting us over on patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for supporting us, helping me get the jobs done, which I appreciate. And I did want to also note, oh, Game Positive was considering a MetaQuest as well. I saw him in one of our chats saying so. If you do end up picking up a quest, I can send you a referral link, which will get you store credit and helps me out as well. So that is a thing. You'll just know that. There you go.
Also, if you're looking for a litter robot, I too have a referral code that will help you get one of those and help me out as well too.
Can I tell you something, Logan? I feel like you're more likely to get a litter robots request for a referral than I am. I think you're more likely to get that than I am. That's funny.
Well, I just, you get some money off of your little robot, and I get some money for the next little robot. It'll pay for the hopper that I was gifted, so I can pay that forward back to Chick and be able to. If she gets one, then she can have a litter hopper. I've automated everything with my cats, so food, water, litter, it's all automated now at this point. I question, why do I even have pets? But then I recognize like there's something magical about having little fluffy things running around that you can pet, and that's a whole different topic, a whole other podcast. I don't even need to get into that.
I do want to say our patrons and our YouTube channel members, we are having our community episode on December 3rd. Yeah. Right now it's listed at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. If we need to move that an hour to make it easier for people to be 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific, I don't mind doing that if we need to, Logan. So let us know in chats, but that's our community episode. All of you get to participate if you're inclined to. Yep. So know that.
But yeah, I was waiting for the patch to come back in for Stalker 2. I was actually kind of wondering like how this was going to play out, because I knew that they had been working on a patch. Mm-hmm. And with Stalker 2, I finally got it. Like I got the driver installed. I limited my FPS, like I checked out the settings, and I got it working. I got it working so that it is super smooth. It's really nice. Looks fantastic. It's not like the greatest looking game. Like there's still a lot of issues that I have with things like shadows and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like this is very much like a Fallout game. And I'd be very curious. Our friend Suddy, who has dumped hundreds of hours, I guess, it seems like he's always playing Fallout 4. I'm very curious to know, like, if someone like him is interested in going to check out Stalker 2, because it's more grounded than Fallout as far as like aesthetic and story. But it still holds a lot of the similar things out of that. And I would say like PUBG, or, like the UI and the things that you pick up all feel very much like a PUBG. You got a backpack, you got to organize it, kind of like think like Resident Evil 4 suitcase.
Right.
So you have like a weight limit and stuff.
Two things come to mind for that. First, Metro Awakening came out in VR, and I have a problem where I think of them as the same, Metro and Stalker, which is just aesthetics. It's not gameplay. Yeah. In a lot of ways. But two, like the patch that they put out fixed like 650 bugs. It was massive, 130 gigs when it came out. But it seemed to have cleaned up a lot of the experiences that people have. And it's one of those weird things where like you can't dunk on the developer. You cannot dunk on the developer.
Not for this one.
Not for this one. Like you don't get to on this one, just given the context. That said, I'm sure stuff like that has happened to other games that people don't know the stories of. But for it to fix this many bugs and for it to be as well received as it seems to be, because it seems like a lot of people are really enjoying it. I like that. That's a win. That's a win. And I'm curious if this ends up on anyone's game of the year lists. Right. I don't mean best game ever, because I think I'm gone from the best game ever game of the year. No, game of the year to me is now what I've had the most fun with. And again, that's probably different than when XEP started, because I've just changed as a gamer in my taste. But like now it's like, no, it's what I've played the most and enjoyed the most. I wonder if Stalker 2 ends up on anyone's lists.
I'd be curious to see, because I was scrubbing through the bug list, and like one of them is fixed eyes and teeth on NPC models. Like of all the bugs that you could fix on a game. I think the eyes and teeth thing is like really high. That immersion should be tweaked and stuff. But I mean, they've gone in, they've done a lot of tweaks to many of the different settings, items, interactions, damage to things. I think has been nice. They've really tried to shore up a lot of the shortcomings that the launch first had, because even after the 1.0, there were still a lot of issues with the game just in trying to actually play it. And like, I've been thinking a lot about this. I think the tutorial is too hard for people. I think that they really needed to ease up on how
it just throws you in.
Yeah, it does. But and to a detriment too, because like as soon as you get past the little tutorial on how to move, you're immediately attacked, like pretty much twice. And when I first played it, like I started up and then I was sitting in the zone, and then I think I went off to go get like a cup of coffee or some food or something. Like I went AFK, right? I come back not knowing this. I had missed all of the like tutorial pop-ups for how to do something. And credit to the studio. They're like, you're a gamer, you know how to, you understand how games work. We're not going to sit here and make you press every single WASD to be able to like recognize that,
right,
you know how to move. I missed that you had a flashlight, and the flashlight isn't on by default. So I'm sitting here like, imagine playing through like the flood levels in Halo on the old CRTV without the flashlight.
It's dark. Yeah, you were playing a horror game.
Yeah. And that's what the intro to Stalker 2 is like. And you're just like, I hate this. I don't understand what's going on. But I restarted it because I wanted to start it back up, and I went down to easy just to kind of like get me through the tutorial, because I didn't want the tutorial to be the reason why I didn't play this game. But once I got past that, the day came, the NPCs were around. It was a lot more vibrant. There was a lot more going on. There was less dialogue. I was able to kind of explore and do stuff and work on quests. And I was like, oh, this is what Stalker 2 is. This is the open world action game where I'm just going around and looting and helping people out and being a stalker and trying to avoid anomalies and not get killed by monsters. This is what Stalker 2 is. And it feels very akin to Fallout. And I'm glad that the studio was able to put out a patch so quickly after launch. This is this is a lot of bug fixes for what was shortly after launch, which to me tells me that they know that they've had this long list, and there was a push to get the game out, knowing that they would be able to spend the next 2 weeks getting all of these bugs tested and locked in for the first patch.
Right.
And anyone that's been like holding off on Stalker 2 because of all the comments and stuff like that should feel a little bit safer about the technical issues, and should definitely jump in if you've been wanting to give this a shot. Just recognize that the tutorial is hard, and once you get past that, that's when things actually start to open up. Also, use a flashlight.
Use the flashlight is right. I think it's funny. Like, there have been so many times in my life where like I didn't realize I was crouched the whole time, or I didn't realize I could run, or like little stuff that just one reason or another you miss it, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It happened. I think I know, like anybody listening to the show, it's happened to you at some point, right? You didn't realize this thing was impeding it. You didn't know you could fast travel or whatnot. And thus your game experience was hugely different. And I always get a kick out of, it happens to reviewers sometimes too, right? They're like, wait, I did the whole review and I didn't know X or Y, because you do it in a vacuum quite often.
Yeah.
And as a small channel, that's like the fear, right? Like when we first started doing reviews, I think Hellblade was our biggest one at the time. We had done Banishers and Suicide Squad. And like, if you look at just Suicide Squad versus now, like we've gotten a lot better. But it's like, oh, if I didn't know this thing, and I could just taint the entire experience and have a completely different impression. I always have sympathy for reviewers when it happens to them as well.
Yeah.
So
That's why I was very happy with when I restarted Stalker 2 and I picked easy and I jumped in there and I was like, oh, okay. Well, first off, I kind of know like what's coming, so I can kind of be a little more prepared. You kind of understand like what the predicted things are going to be. And there's still things that I just do not understand with that game. That I'm just like, I have no clue. I must have misunderstood or misread or missed something, because there's an aspect to doing something that I don't know why I'm doing it, but I am doing it. And it, you know, it's not stopping me or preventing me from progressing forward. So I'm hoping at some point that'll actually click, or I just have to look up a guide to figure that out. 'Cause sometimes that's all you can really do with some of these games.
I think those, first of all, I'm team easy. If you enjoy your game on easy, play it on easy.
Yeah.
Don't like dive into the accessibility options, make the game the most fun you can have. Because I started Star Wars Outlaws today. And this is post patch. I never really played it before the patch, like the big one that changed like everything. And let me make it very clear. That mini game for hacking is the worst mini game I've ever seen in my life. It's terrible. Like one of the things they fixed, you don't have to play that game anymore. Good. Suddenly my enjoyment not increased, because I tried it in the tutorial. Like, it tells you to try this. It gives you a help hint. Tries this. It's so bad. Now they have the option to just skip it. Good. Now I can just go up and enjoy it. Also, like, I'm playing through these missions and I'm really enjoying Star Wars Outlaws. And like when I get caught in stealth, then I'm blasting my way out and I'm having a blast with that. Like, that's a good old time.
Yep.
Accessibility options, letting people enjoy your game, go for it. And if for anybody, like, I'm playing on normal right now, but there have been plenty of games where I much preferred easy. I heard our friend Rick Davis, again on Spreading the Nerd, he was saying, you know, he beat Elden Ring. He's an Elden Lord now. Welcome, fellow Elden Lord, by the way. He's like, and I did it thanks to the Mimic tier because I'm a fraud. I'm like, no, sir, you are not. You are using a system that the game allows you to use. And you're not cheesing it. Unlike Dan Daddy D Wally out here, who I was like, I need more XP in Starfield. And that kid, he was out there using exploits and game breaking things to get his XP in Starfield. You're not a level 100, sir. No, sir. No.
I'm going to stand behind Dan on this. If the game fights me too much on something like that, and it's a single player game, just let me look. I owned a Game Genie back in the day. I had a Game Genie for my NES. I had a Game Genie for my Super Nintendo. Game Genies broke the code. You were hacking, but most of the time it was all single player experience. So if you're gonna tell me that big head mode in GoldenEye is cheating because I'm playing through the story with big head mode, then that's fine. If you're going to tell me that you're changing, okay, here's a good example. A lot of survival games have custom servers, right? In those custom servers, you can go and tweak a lot of the settings. You can increase the respawn rate for materials. You can increase how much you get. You can reduce the damage taken by animals. Like, you can slow down time, you can stop time. There's so many things that you can tweak in those things. And those are online worlds. But the point is that you're catering the server to what your play style is going to be like. And if the game is fighting you, you should have features or functions to be able to make it more enjoyable. And what's the difference in a single player game if you're using an exploit for an experience gain because you want to enjoy the game and the game is fighting you?
What's the difference? So the core question is, what's the difference between an exploit and accessibility, and specifically in a single player game? That's a great, like, theological question, you know? Yeah.
If it's allowing you to enjoy it, is it really an exploit in a single player game, or is it just an accessibility hack?
It's, again, a good question, because when I enjoyed Warcraft as a kid, I'd put in the gold code so I could build more stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem. I do think it makes Daddy D Wally a fraud. But I don't think it's actually a problem, particularly in a single player experience. I think as long as people are enjoying it, that's fine, right? In a single player world, have at it, enjoy the game, use the systems that it's got in place. The reason I brought it all up is I don't want anybody ever like thinking themselves not good because you're playing on easy, or like I adjust the accessibility options always because I do not do quick time events and I don't like tap, 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 tap. Those are two systems that I think are archaic, silly, and make games less fun. So I nix them immediately. Immediately I go into accessibility. I also turn off film grain and whatever the heck motion blur and chromatic aberration actually are. I know what motion blur is, but like I don't know what some of these are. Like I just want a clean picture. I don't want film grain for the cinematic experience. No, thank you. I would like to see the best that it can offer. I put it in performance mode because I don't want slow down whenever possible. So, which again, performance mode on Starfield sucks.
Not on PC. On PC, it's fantastic because it's always been 60 frames.
Well, it's 60 frames on Xbox, but it's still like not good.
Yeah, but you can put all your sandwiches in your spaceship.
So dumb. So, you know, Abdel says I hate film grain. Also, hi Abdel, good to see you. Always think my TV is broken. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
See, he says he loves HDR though, and I will actually push back and say that HDR is one of the things that I don't like because it makes the games darker, and I already have eye issues. I don't need to make the games harder to see for me. Like the blacks are black enough on the OLED. Like I'm good with it.
I you know what? Oddly enough, I also struggle with HDR because I'm like, is this better or am I wrong? And I don't know. That's one of the complexities of modern gaming that sometimes people are like, yeah, but you need to adjust your settings, go into this thing and check. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Like I've gone in and done the nit tests and stuff. I've done the settings on my LG C1, and I've played with like optimal settings on games as well. And to be perfectly honest, HDR is one of those ones where either my eyes don't recognize it or it's just not as impressive as I was expecting it to be, because at the end of the day, I think the OLED already does a fantastic job of getting like rich blacks for obvious reasons in the tech, but it's just one of those things where I don't know that I appreciate it as much as other people. And I think that that's one of those like take it or leave it's for me.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's just the complexity that comes with it that I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's better or what's supposed to look good. I always get a kick out of like seeing people say like, this is how the creators intended. I'm like, there's 1,000 ways to configure a monitor. I don't know. Like maybe.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I will say Star Wars Outlaws, I know it's on multiple sales across the board. I'm really enjoying my time with it. It also made me want to re-download Jedi Survivor because I was like, oh, I think there's some DLC I didn't tackle in that one. And I like being a Jedi.
I struggled with that one. I'm struggling to go back on that one because I'm not a fan of the story right now. And
in Survivor?
Yeah.
The story was the weakest part for me. I thought the villain was terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the villain. I'm not a fan of what they're having to do with it. And I'm just like, it's kind of like the same feeling behind the Ahsoka show. Like,
you tread carefully, sir.
I don't care. People can hate me. Everyone's entitled to your opinion. You guys don't like eggnog. You like eggnog. Whatever. I'm not going to take it or leave it from you. You can have or not have your eggnog. The Ahsoka show was a tribute to Rebels. I never watched Rebels, so I don't care what's going on in those stories. So for me, the Ahsoka show was like a disappointment because I just didn't care about why they were doing what they were doing. So for me, that's the same reason why the story in Jedi Survivor is failing, because it involves characters that are following their motives, and the story that they have is so boring to me that I'm like, no, I actually think I liked the story a lot better when Cal was being hunted all the time and working with witches. And it was just like, that to me was a better story than whatever the current Survivor storyline is pushing.
We agree on that front. I thought the villain and the story in Survivor was far weaker than Fallen Order. The gameplay was far better. So like there's that tragedy that comes in there, and I'm going to go back in, turn on a podcast and just play versus be immersed. Because I have Cal Saber over there. I got the special edition.
Huge.
I love it. It is huge.
It is huge. What is he compensating for? Is it his force powers?
No, you can do a dual saber. You can do a split saber. You can. He's got a lot of options. But I do need to track back and say that your blasphemous speaking on the show Ahsoka is wild to me, because tribute to Rebels or not, you got to see Anakin in his prime doing dope stuff. You got to see Grand Admiral Thrawn. Baylan Skoll was amazing. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. You got to see Ezra Bridger in live action, which was neat. And Rosario Dawson was an incredible Ahsoka Tano. Watching the saber fights was just incredible. Like, I don't know how anyone can watch Ahsoka and be disappointed. Whereas like with Andor, I do not enjoy Andor, but it's very well made, right? To me, Andor is The Last of Us. Like, you're going to love it and stand for it, or you're going to be like, this is quality, but it's not for me. That's Andor. Whereas Ahsoka is like, this is a blast. I'm having fun. Like, this is a good time regardless.
They're going to get in space whales. Get out of here. Whatever the hell that is. They're going to hyperspace through space whales. Okay. That's sure. Congratulations. That's a Star Wars.
I want you to know that Hogwarts is stupid and that Harry Potter's dumb.
Okay.
People that I've tried to wound you.
Much like me sharing my initial opinion on Belatro and Joe coming after me as if I kicked his dog, you were having some troubles with me saying that the Ahsoka show was not as impressive for me as what it was for other people, because I didn't watch Rebels. I have no clue who Ezra Miller is. I don't know who Thrawn is.
Ezra Miller is the Flash, and he was awful.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Ezra Bridger is who you're speaking of.
I have no clue. Yes.
So we're on like a chill show today. So like, can I tangentially equate these things? I totally know what you mean. It's like, I love this thing. You're not going to hurt me for loving this thing. We had a fantastic conversation in Discord the other day with Todd Oxtra and Nissa Hauer about it came from Arkham Shadow, and it's just like how confusing it is to be a DC and WB fan right now, because Arkham Shadow and Suicide Squad come out in the same year, right? Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know what to do, because like I have every achievement in Suicide Squad. That game has immaculate gameplay, and I hate that game. Like, I truly hate it for existing. I hate it for what it did to the characters. I hate it for everything. Will Broke Boy Lewis in chat with a $2 super chat says, long time no see. Good to see you, my friend. But everything that comes with being a DC fan is dichotomy. You're going to get something terrible for something great. To go all the way back to
the monkey paw.
Very much so. And like, I get a lot of flack because I really like Snyder's DC universe. And like, I like, which is only 4 movies long, just for the record. Like, it's Man of Steel, BVS Ultimate Edition, Wonder Woman, and then his version of Justice League. But
what about Wonder Woman 84?
That's not his version. That was Patty Jenkins. Truly, like, I'm not messing with you. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
84 came out after Snyder's daughter had taken her own life, and kind of the downtrend of David Zaslav's WB. But the reason I bring this up is you get Snyder's Justice League, which is one of the highest rated superhero movies ever, really highly regarded. Whether you like it or not, like, it's highly regarded. And then you get Wonder Woman 84. Then you get Peacemaker from James Gunn, incredible. And then you get Aquaman and The Flash. And then you get The Batman. And it's like, I don't know, am I getting like God tier DC, or am I getting bottom of the barrel trash? And it's just really hard to be a DC fan. And so I am, after Shadow, I'm so hopeful that DC realizes we need a Superman game. Todd Oxter was saying, where's the WB Wonder Woman game? Yep, good point. It's wild. Yeah, Abdel in chat saying, I love Grant Gustin's Flash. Season 1 through 3 on CW was amazing. You're right. And then the rest of it was garbage. Arrow seasons 1 and 2, amazing. 3, okay. And then it just got bad. Like, it's so hard to be a DC fan that when people come at me for loving X or Y, I'm just like, yeah, all right. Okay. Like, okay.
It's not a personal attack for me to say that Belatro is It's fun. I found the hook. I understood. Like it took Joe 19 hours to beat the game or to beat the first Joker. It took me like 4 hours. You know, like I get it. Like I get the hook. I get the gameplay loop. I understand how it goes. But games like Balatro are one of those ones where it's like, this is very much one of those games where if I want to sit down and play a podcast and watch my friends talk about games the way that we do, Balatro is very much one of those, like, I don't care enough about what's going on in this game to invest solely in it. And the music is terrible. But I will happily like go through the process of trying to get a good run in there just for the sake of having something to play, because I'm more focused on the podcast. It's a great podcast game. It's not game of the year, but
gotcha.
That's kind of where I'm going in for that. And people are more than welcome to disagree with me, because I can guarantee you that there are going to be people out there who, for them, Balatro is the game of the year. For others, it's going to be Metaphor, and neither people are wrong from their perspective.
Right.
Should not be dogged for having that opinion.
Right. You're right. And I agree. People shouldn't be dogged for having an opinion, unless I was trying to make it. Oh, unless it's on Daddy D Wally's Joker, which I'm gonna dunk on again. Oh, and Eggnog, bad. Ugh. Thank you for the super chat, Will Broke Boy Lewis. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do some listener questions, but also real quick, just mention the Xbox official app. Sarah Bond tweeted out over on X, a platform I'm not on anymore, says that Sarah Bond went to social media to announce that an administrative stay, due to an administrative stay granted by the U.S. courts, Microsoft has been forced to delay allowing Xbox users on Android to purchase and play games through the software. The news comes after Bond previously announced the features would come in November. Shortly after, Google was ordered to open up its app store to third-party rivals in early October. Follow-up, Google did respond to that and said that it does allow you, and has always allowed you, to sell games through Xbox on its apps, but it did not mention that it takes a 30% cut from it. And so that really just comes down to legalities. And can I tell you, the longer I'm in these ecosystems, the more we talk about just wanting to play our games wherever and do whatever, the less I want to hear about stuff like this. Fix it. Make it work.
It's all about legislation, what they're legally allowed to do and what they're legally not allowed to do. In this case, the difference is that Microsoft wants to be able to sell games through the Xbox app on the Google Play Store by taking money directly from the consumer and not having to take money directly from the consumer through Google, because Google wants that 30% cut. Now, in response, I will say, like, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all charge a 30% cut from publishers. Like, and this was something that Todd Oxtra had pointed out over on Blue Sky, and I agree with him on this, that all of them do take that cut. I think the difference here is that we need to allow companies to be able to pull money to themselves if they want in from other companies, and just have there has to be some sort of charge, obviously, for publishers. Like, if you're going to be selling a game, there needs to be a charge. So I don't know how Google gets money if they aren't charging 30% from publishers, but maybe they need to negotiate the deals better on that one. But there's very much something about how would Microsoft, Sony, and PlayStation survive if they couldn't just charge 30% from publishers on their ecosystems to be able to, like, take that revenue in, because otherwise it's like them surviving off of Game Pass, core Game Pass, standard Game Pass, Ultimate, them surviving off of the sales for their games only. If publishers are able to take their game, put it on Xbox, and then not give any money to Xbox, it's like, how do we expect Xbox to earn any revenue at that point?
Yep. You are right. I do like the idea of renegotiating deals to find common ground. I just don't want to argue about it or see it all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a boring topic. I'd much rather talk games than that kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's interesting that there's less talk about the negotiation of the cut and how those ecosystems survive if they don't have a cut.
Fair point. All right, let's take some listener questions if you don't mind. I didn't actually pull them from Discord, but I'm going to start with Abdel's question here. Abdel dropped this one in our YouTube chat and says, what are your guys' top 3 most anticipated games of 2025? Mine are 1, Fable, 2, Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers, and 3, Gears of War, be it E-Day or the rumored 1 through 3 remakes. Great question, my friend. Are we getting Gears of War in 2025?
I don't think. I
don't think we are.
I don't know if E-Day is coming out that soon. I mean, that would be cool.
It is. It would be cool.
It'd be awesome.
Because you got Avowed, you got Perfect Dark, Fable, and South by Midnight. Right?
Yeah.
Those are
the. Yeah.
We think those are the ones. Perfect Dark.
Towerborn's technically coming out 2025 on Xbox, right?
Technically, yeah, you're right.
It's in game preview on Steam right now, but it's not technically out on Xbox. So that's one there. That being said, I don't think anyone's really talked about Towerborn being all that impressive on Steam. So I haven't heard yay or nay on that one, but I'm kind of curious to go take a look at the reviews right now, just to kind of get a gauge on that. For me, it's definitely going to be Fable, South by Midnight, and I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to jump into GTA to give it an honest chance, just to because I've never, beyond Vice City, I've never really gotten into GTA. Like I own GTA 5 in 4 different places. Never touched it really. Like I booted it up a couple times and done like the first mission where you got to drive around and shoot people. But beyond that, like I genuinely have not invested a whole lot of time or effort into that game. But yeah, I would much rather be looking forward to Fable, Avowed, and South by Midnight as like my top 3. But I am kind of curious. Like I mean, next year's going to be wild because we're going to have Doom: The Dark Ages. Which I feel confident that they'll be able to come out with that because I feel like
that's my number 1 most anticipated.
Yeah, I feel like that studio is very good about knowing their trajectory when it comes to the gameplay, and they're very rock solid when it comes to their games in general. So I just think that if they say 2025, I would be very surprised if they had to push that out. But like Doom: The Dark Ages, Fable, you've got Avowed, Perfect Dark, you've got South by Midnight, Towerborn technically, and GTA are like the ones that I think everyone could potentially look at and be like, yeah, those are going to be some of like the biggest games that everyone's looking forward to. Ark Survival 2 obviously coming out. Like who doesn't want Vin Diesel riding dinosaurs? It's better than cars. So I'd be very interested to see like what that looks like, because I've never got into Ark, but I'm getting more into survival games because of Chick. So it's one of those ones where I will give it an earnest like opportunity to actually say like, yeah, let's see what like a proper sequel to Ark is going to look like. Because I've seen Primal, I've seen oh god, I blanked on what their really crappy pirate game was called, but I'm rooting for them to do something good in it. As opposed to just what it feels like, which is like the constant ports to different genres. I gotta look up and see whatever the heck that.
Atlas says Turtley wasted in your Twitch.
Yeah, God, that was disappointing. But I mean, they gave it a good shot, and it is a legit like survival pirate game. But I'm curious, like what Ark Survival 2 looks like. Will that be something that I actually get into Ark? Because I remember I bought Ark for like one of my like one of the kids cousin or like nephews forever ago, and I was like, you know, ended up finding out that he played it for a little bit and then returned it and then got something else, and I was like, okay. better that you play something that you enjoy,
Right.
than have something that you don't, because I know how that Christmas goes. But yeah, I'm very curious to kind of try out like the top 3: South by Midnight, Fable, and then I just blanked on the other one that I said. It was
Ark Survival.
Ark Survival, probably not the top. South by Midnight, Fable, top 2 for sure. Avowed, that was the third one.
Yeah.
So those are like my 3 that I'm very curious about.
Gotcha. My most anticipated would be Doom: The Dark Ages. That's by far number 1. Avowed is my second, which I didn't expect to feel, but like all the impressions have really got me just interested. And then like there's not a game I'm looking far out to, because I'm excited for the Power Ranger game. That's in a week and a half. Like I get excited for stuff that's more immediate. That's just my nature. But I will say Doom: The Dark Ages, Avowed, and I'm gonna go South by Midnight, because I was teetering on like Perfect Dark or Fable, but I'll go South by Midnight. I know more about those, and I'm more interested in those. If there is a Gears project next year, obviously that kicks to the very front of the list, because I love Gears of War. So we'll see kind of what goes on there. But ask me again in a month and a half, you might get a slightly different answer. It tends to be the case.
There's also a lot that we don't know too. Like there's a lot of games that are going to be coming out that we just don't know about yet. So that'll be interesting to see how those turn out. Legacy of Kain remasters next week have me hyped, says Abdel. Yeah, same. I'm looking forward to trying Soul. Dude, I've been talking about the Soul Reaver remakes coming out, or not remakes, remasters. Because I mean that's like I played those on the Dreamcast, man. Those are like, if you like Zelda, you're going to like Soul Reaver. It's basically the same game, just a different story. So really love that.
How much are those?
I don't know. I'll definitely be picking them up at some point.
I mean, I can send
It's
them
a shame
to
that they didn't have like a. I would love it if they actually had like a physical edition, because much like the Gargoyles remake that came out, I'm blanking on the studio that does all the limited edition, did a Gargoyles thing that I picked up that I was just like, it's fantastic. So if they did one for Soul Reaver, I would probably be interested in like looking and see what that's about, because that's something like, those are one of those games that it's like, I will never forget the Dreamcast, because it gave me Resident Evil, Code Veronica, and Soul Reaver, and it's like, and Crazy Taxi. Like those are just amazing. And the Sonic Adventure games too. That was a really good system. People don't give that system enough credit, man. I feel like Sega
Dreamcast?
really,
one of my most popular Blue Sky
posts.
Posts. Yeah, I was like, they're not tweets. Was about the Dreamcast, because I just love the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Like they did a lot of things right with the Dreamcast, and I'm just saying, like, I would not be surprised if there are people that are playing on private servers on Phantasy Star Online. I would not be surprised. But yeah, that was there's some really good games coming out, and plus, I mean, we're not even done with 2024. We still have like Indiana Jones to think about.
Yep. On Blue Sky we skeet, dang it. I thought that's what it was called, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that's what it was. I was like, if I'm just out here saying skeet, that's probably not good.
No. This is one I'm looking forward to as well too. Like we've been talking about Sea of Thieves. Jump Ship from Keepsake Games is a tab that I have open on my phone all the time. Like, because I don't want to forget this game. So when Jump Ship comes out, I will be very much jumping ship from Sea of Thieves to go check out Jump Ship.
There's a VR, I'm always trying to get you in VR. There's a VR game, something Jolly Roger, which looks like Sea of Thieves, but it's coming to Quest or something, which is neat. We have a question from Kevin Ainsworth over at Project X Talk. He says, "Hi Luke, why is Crash and even Banjo so much better than Spyro? I'm really struggling to enjoy the Reignited trilogy right now. Can you open my eyes to the wonder of the Purple Dragon?" One, Kevin, I do not understand. Like Banjo does not age well, so that kind of like is a hard one to go with. But I do not think that Crash is better than Spyro. I think it's a matter of, do you want hardcore platforming in Crash or more simplified experiences in Spyro?
Well, action adventure, not simplified, action adventure.
It's simplified. Don't yuck my yum.
I'm not. I'm
whatever we said earlier.
I'm getting facts. These are just facts. It's not a simplified. Like, there are some platforming experiences in Spyro that don't compare to Crash Bandicoot due to the nature of the gameplay, but it's just a different gameplay.
I don't think of it different, even though I think it clearly is. But I think Spyro is more approachable, and I enjoy Spyro more. And I think Crash Bandicoot is more punishing. Kevin is, he and I both share our love for like 3D mascot platformers, but he is far more into them. And I think his skill is just that much higher. So he's probably bored by the first Spyro, but I will say the second and third, to get those challenges done, you're going to be struggling. So I just think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would just say that they're more approachable than, because I mean they're kids platformer games, like they're action adventure games, like they're meant to be like something that you can pick up and give to a kid and have some fun. Spyro can fly and Crash cannot, as far as I know. So
he cannot.
I mean,
I just think Spyro is cooler. I like Spyro, but like Crash is meant to be cooler, you know?
Yeah. Like
Crash is meant to be cooler and more in your face by nature, but I really just love Spyro. Side note, I said I got all the Disney Infinity games on Steam. Skylanders should be out there. It just needs to be out there. Fix it. Fix it. We have a tangential question to that one, and this is Todd Oxtra asking. He wants to know, putting this in our chat, he says, what do you expect Xbox to bring to the Game Awards should Crash show up with his megaphone? So Xbox should bring Fable to the Game Awards. They are going to bring Fable to the Game Awards, but it won't be the thing that was like snuck out there and like leaked out by, I want to say it was Jez Corden, or he saw the leak or something like that. It's not gonna be the same thing. But I think you'll see Fable. I think you will see some South by Midnight and Avowed. But like you won't see like a ton of new. They're probably going to save that for their own stuff. I think Fable is the right place for the Game Awards, and it won't be like Dev Direct style stuff. And I love the idea of Crash being there with the megaphone. I think that's a great callback, but you got to have some sort of mascot platformer goodness to go with it somewhere along the way. Maybe he's out there. He's like, Activision back catalog is back. And it's like, okay, that's a reason to get your megaphone. You can't have a megaphone if you got nothing to say. That goes for Xbox in general.
Or you could, I would love for Crash to go off script and show up with a megaphone and just talk about how Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree is not a
DLC
game.
Can't be game of the year.
Can't wait for that nod in Jeff's speech when he talks about gaming. I honestly don't really think Xbox is going to bring anything too heavy, because I am fully expecting them to do another one of those developer roundups in January, at the end of January, like they did last year and the year before. That to me is a proven means to effectively connect the studios to the games and the community in a much better presentation than standing on stage and giving an awkward talk about how excited you are for gamers to get their hands on X, and going that route on the Game Awards than the developer dive that they do in January, because I think that that's where you're going to have a much more curated and interesting approach to games like Fable, to Avowed, to South by Midnight, where we know that those are the knowns. So I think that they'll just cart out Fable and probably talk about how fun it's going to be, and that'll be it. I think we'll see much more content from Xbox in January when they do their developer thing, which I'm pretty sure that they're going to do. And I look forward to that, because it's going to be stuff that we know with a little bit of surprise for 2025. And I think I'm more excited about that than I am the Game Awards, because I'm probably going to be playing Indiana Jones.
I think you nailed it. They're going to be there, but it's January, February that they're going to like really occupy the time.
Yeah. Look forward to that.
We have two more comments, but tell me if I'm jaded or if I'm making sense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is almost a make or break time for Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards. Like
this
last year's showcase where they just ushered off these winners. The
wrap it up.
Yeah, the wrap it up one. The year before, I want to say that it was the
way too long.
Was that the way too long one where it took forever?
It was the I can't remember if it was last year.
I don't think that was Chris Judge's thing.
Okay.
Time is weird because of COVID in here, but my point is, it feels like after Summer Game Fest kind of getting dunked on socials, and the frustration of the last few Game Awards, I wonder if this isn't like the industry's ready to push back a little bit. And I don't know. And like, I don't know if that's me because I just don't enjoy what's happened the last few times. So like, is that me?
I don't know. I think Jeff's award show will go off without a hitch, because I'm anticipating him. Actually,
no acknowledgement of job. I cut you off. I'm so sorry, but General Stone nailed it. That's what the industry problem was last time. They'd had all these job cuts, like thousands upon thousands, and gaming's so great. No mention of that, I think, was a pushback that they got last year.
Yeah.
And then the timing and the cutting people off was also a factor. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you gave me an opportunity to get my thoughts together. I think the thing that will really be telling this year is if like what Kojima's going to say, because he's going to get carted out onto the stage, because that's just what Jeff does. He finds a reason to bring Kojima out and onto stage. And Death Stranding 2 is going to be a good opportunity for them to talk about like what that game is going to be, and also like when it's going to come out. I think the thing that could really serve Jeff well is if he finally gets something for GTA 6. Because Rockstar has a habit of doing their own thing and just showing off what they want to show off on their timeline. And if he can somehow get something like a new trailer for the Game Awards, everyone will probably forget about any of the shortcomings that the Game Awards would have, because everyone's just going to be talking about the GTA trailer kind of thing.
Fair.
I don't know if it's make or break. I think a lot of people are kind of like, I think everyone's taken off the rose-colored glasses, I think, is what's happened. Everyone has stopped looking at Jeff as the savior for the gaming industry, as having like a reputable awards show now, and is more looking at it like, oh, this is just the Jeffs. Like,
gotcha.
This is the Jeffs.
Gotcha. All right. That makes sense. This one comes from Nicholas Johnson. Says, I can't remember if this has been answered in a previous episode. What is your go-to holiday game? Is there anything you come back to each season that you want to play? I don't think we've answered this one specifically, but we reference it a lot. I love events in live service games. So like Halloween and like Christmas events. Like I'm excited for DVDs. Like me Krampus running around as the trapper, and like in Fortnite going to all the holiday places and singing carols. And I don't know what COD's gonna do, but like I like that in games. Star Wars is always
Bloody
a Christmas
Santa
game.
Last year.
Was it Bloody Santa?
Yeah, he had the train and the Bloody Santa in Warzone.
Right. I'll tell you this. I am a sucker for skins in that realm. And so I'm all for it. I hope that they get started soon. I want like December to be the thing, because I think Dead by Daylight comes in like the second or third week of December. And I'm like, that's too long. I want the whole month. But to me, Star Wars and December go hand in hand. So it's fitting that I'm playing Outlaws. I'll finish up Vader Immortal in VR, because I have Vader Immortal 3 as well. You're hiding your cat. I'm not sure what's happening here.
Like she's cleaning herself. I'm just trying to be like
quite the gentleman.
Censored.
Okay, quite the gentleman. It demonetizes or whatever that people say it is. To me it's Star Wars time. So like I will enjoy playing Outlaws and then whatever else. So there you go.
Yeah.
This is interesting, audio listeners. He's covering up part of the camera as his cat cleans itself.
Look, I'm just trying to be, you
You're
guys
a gentleman.
look here. I'll tell you what. I'll just raise the camera up a little bit. I usually go in for the holiday events. Sea of Thieves usually has like an orb stream or like a prophecy kind of time around this. They've always got the jingle bells and stuff like playing in the tavern. So I love jumping into that. I don't particularly have a game that I jump back into on a regular basis as like a single player story. It's actually been a long time since I've gone through and like gone to, because Super Mario Brothers 3 hands down will always be the game that I pick up and play if there's ever an opportunity for me just to not have anything that I need to work on or jump in with other people. If there's a time where I'm so like segregated away from my normal experiences, but I have access to one game, it will always be Super Mario Brothers 3. I will go back and play Super Mario Brothers 3 anytime and just enjoy that, because that is just a perfect game in my mind. So that's one that I'll always go back to. But during the holidays, it is always going to be going to the live service games that I play and checking out and seeing like what their events are, because I think that those are some of the most interesting ones, like Destiny 2, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Sea of Thieves, Here's the Storm, World of Warcraft, like Diablo 4. Those are going to be the experiences that I go to like stay in the mood, stay in the atmosphere, stay in the experience, and enjoy the holidays as a time where I can just kind of focus on enjoying, the time of the year that is just limited. We don't celebrate the holiday season all year round. It would kind of defeat the point. So I make it special by jumping into the games that emphasize that for a time limited nature.
There you go. Good answer there. Good answer. I will give a shout out to I love Arkham. Arkham Origins takes place at Christmas time. So if you are a diehard Batman fan like myself, that is an option for you. All right. I think that wraps up our Discord questions and our live questions as well.
Nice.
So Logan, what's the rest of your day look like? I'm going to be going back to Star Wars and enjoying that.
I am going to be typing up more of my review for Call of Duty. I've gotten most of the zombies stuff written up, and that's probably been the most contentious part of the review so far. Everything else is going to be probably pretty positive, but I'll be working on that today. Keelhauled just put out a podcast and a patch, a hotfix. Sea of Thieves did. They put out a podcast and a hotfix, and are kind of looking to really address some of the major issues with the community's concerns about the game. So I'm looking forward to working on typing up notes and responses to their latest podcast episode. So Keelhauled will be coming out on Monday, as always. For those that are interested in the Sea of Thieves world and are curious about what's going on there, especially with the holiday season, I actually really love when they do holiday stuff. So looking forward to what they do there. And outside of that, just kind of gaming with my bros and playing some Call of Duty if y'all are interested. So that's kind of the rest of my weekend.
Nice. There you go, man. I'll definitely be doing more Star Wars. Fortnite Season 2 launches, I think, now, maybe soon. Fortnite Season 6, like the next Fortnite season, which I'm excited about because this past one didn't really do it for me. I'm looking forward to that, playing some Iron Man VR. I will say, if anybody missed it, I got to do my first preview event for Sniper Elite Resistance, and that was really cool. Thank you very much. I worked hard on that video trying to get it right, so hopefully people check that out. I'm working on my MetaQuest 3 review, part of my this an Xbox series. And I will say that if you are spending any money in those Steam sales, Xbox, PlayStation sales, or whatnot, if you're able to forego one of those super cheap games and send it to a creator of your choice or support somebody that's making content you like, whether it's XEP or otherwise, try and do that. It helps them out a lot. helps them out. If you can't do that, send a review, a like, a share to whether it's XEP or otherwise. Support your creators. It's important. So there you go.
Nice.
That's my call to action. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.
Bye.